Let's get real. Hollywood history is littered with forgotten masterpieces that once slipped through the cracks, buried by bigger blockbusters or just plain bad luck. But here's the wild truth. Some of the best movies you've never seen are still out there, waiting to knock you sideways. How many iconic films have you missed just because they never made the front page? Get ready to discover 14 lost American classics that still pack a punch. And trust me, one of these will haunt your watch list for weeks. The Parallax View, 1974. Some movies whisper danger. This one screams it from the rooftops. The Parallax View is not just a conspiracy thriller. It's a ticking time bomb that explodes inside your head and leaves you doubting everything you thought you knew. Warren Beatty stars as a reporter sucked into the dark machinery behind political assassinations. What starts as a murder investigation turns into a nightmarish maze of paranoia and mind games, where every shadow hides a new threat. Director Alan J. Pakula turns the American landscape into a trap, boardrooms feel as menacing as dark alleys, and the real villains are hidden in plain sight. There's a hypnotic montage sequence here that practically reprograms your brain, using jarring images to show how easy it is to bend reality. And every time you think you have a handle on the plot, the ground shifts beneath you. Why did this movie fade? It got lost in the shadow of Watergate and more respectable political thrillers. But in a world that's only gotten stranger, the Parallax View looks more like a prophecy than a relic. If you think you know what paranoia feels like, give this a watch and tell me you still sleep easy. It's not just a thriller, it's a warning that's more relevant now than ever. Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, 1974. If you think you've seen revenge movies, you haven't seen anything like this fever dream from Sam Peckinpah. Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia doesn't just get gritty. It rolls around in the dirt, covered in sweat, blood, and the stench of desperation. Warren Oates gives a career-best performance as Benny, a washed-up piano player who sees one final chance at redemption, bagging a notorious criminal's head for a cash reward. But every mile of this journey strips him further down until all that's left is raw, trembling humanity. This isn't some slick, righteous tale of payback. Peckinpah's world is messy, violent, and indifferent to ideas like justice. Benny's odyssey through sunburned Mexican backroads is filled with betrayals, drunken gunfights, and the kind of moral rot that stains your soul. The film's centerpiece? Benny literally cradling a severed head like his only friend in the world. Talk about haunting imagery. At the time, critics couldn't handle its brutality or its refusal to offer easy answers. But Alfredo Garcia has aged like a punch of whiskey, strong, burning, unforgettable. Some say it's the director's wildest movie. Others say it's his most honest. Either way, if you want a revenge story that feels like it could go off the rails at any moment, this is the one to hunt down. A Midnight Clear, 1992. Forget the usual war movie fireworks. A Midnight Clear brings a snowstorm of dread and hope, trading noisy battles for an eerie quiet that crawls under your skin. Set at the tail end of World War II, it follows a small group of American soldiers stationed deep in a winter wilderness. They're not just facing the enemy, they're staring down the emptiness of survival, with death always a heartbeat away. What sets this film apart? Instead of glorifying war, it digs into those desperate in-between moments, the ones where young men struggle to keep their humanity alive. When these soldiers stumble across a German unit just as lost and scared as they are, an unspoken truce hangs in the air. Every interaction feels like it could snap at any second. Director Keith Gordon crafts a haunting atmosphere, using the silence of falling snow and the vulnerability of youth to devastating effect. There are no sweeping heroics here, only the weight of choices and the knowledge that hope is slipping away one cold breath at a time. A Midnight Clear never got the attention it deserved, maybe because it dared to show that sometimes the scariest thing about war isn't the fighting, it's realizing what's lost in the process. If you want a film that sneaks up on you, then sits heavy on your chest long after the credits roll, don't let this one pass by. The Friends of Eddie Coyle, 1973. Crime movies love to make outlaws look slick and cool. Not this one. The Friends of Eddie Coyle is a cold, hard slap of reality, a crime film that strips away the glitz and leaves you with the bitter taste of survival at the bottom of the barrel. Robert Mitchum plays Eddie, a small-time gun runner in Boston, just trying to make it out alive in a world that couldn't care less about loyalty or second chances. Director Peter Yates drenches every frame in gray desperation. Here, deals are made in back rooms, friendships are measured in favors, and the only thing more dangerous than getting caught is being forgotten. No mastermind criminals, no slow-motion heists, just tired men doing what they can to keep the wolves at bay. The genius of this movie is its authenticity. Every character looks like they've been carrying secrets for a lifetime. The conversations have an edge, but they're never forced. And the violence, when it comes, feels like an exhale rather than a spectacle. You get the sense that Eddie's story could belong to anyone trapped on the wrong side of luck. It's the kind of film you watch and suddenly realize you're rooting for a guy with no way out. If you think all crime movies are the same, this one will leave you cold, shaken, and maybe a little more careful about who you trust. Runaway Train 1985. Strap in, because Runaway Train is pure adrenaline with a soul. Most action movies promise a thrill, but this one delivers a gut punch, a relentless ride through blizzards, tunnels, and the shattered dreams of two convicts on the run. Jon Voight is a beast as Manny, a hardened prisoner who escapes an Alaskan hellhole, dragging a younger inmate with him. Their ticket to freedom? A runaway train that can't be stopped and nobody at the controls. What sounds like a straightforward escape quickly turns into a full-blown battle with fate. The frozen landscape is merciless. Every second on the tracks is borrowed time. And the ruthless warden closing in doesn't care about survival, only about settling a score. Director Andrei Konchalovsky turns steel, ice, and human desperation into a living nightmare where each screech of metal sounds like a warning from the universe. But what makes Runaway Train unforgettable isn't just the speed or the danger. It's the way it digs into what it means to be free. As the train barrels ahead, the characters face the ghosts of their past, and you start to wonder, is escape ever really possible, or are we all just riding our own runaway tracks to the end? This is action cinema with teeth, grit, and a weird, poetic beauty. If you want a forgotten classic that grabs you by the collar and never lets go, this is your next stop. The Last Detail, 1973. On the surface, The Last Detail looks like a bawdy road trip, two Navy lifers hauling a young sailor across the country for a stint in the brig. But peel back the layers, and you get a bittersweet slice of American life, all swagger on the outside, all heartbreak underneath. Jack Nicholson's badass Badusky is a force of nature, funny, foul-mouthed, and so alive you can practically smell the whiskey on his breath. The story rolls from one seedy stop to another, with Nicholson and Otis Young's no-nonsense Mulhall deciding to show their naive prisoner a few last good times before the hammer drops. They crash bars, scrap with MPs, and cause more trouble than they solve. But beneath every joke is the slow burn of regret, the realization that freedom is always just out of reach, even for the ones guarding the keys. Director Hal Ashby lets the movie breathe, giving space for the wildness and the wounds to come through. Every moment of rowdy laughter is shadowed by the sense that these men are all trapped, even as they chase one last taste of life. There's no heroic finale, just a gut punch of an ending that feels so real, you'll swear you've lived it too. This isn't just a road movie. It's a lesson in living with what you can't change and laughing in the face of the inevitable. If you're after a forgotten film that mixes wild comedy with raw, painful honesty, let The Last Detail lead the way. Blowout 1981. Noir gets a makeover and a paranoia boost in Brian De Palma's Blowout, a movie where every sound is a threat, and every answer only leads you deeper into the darkness. John Travolta plays Jack, a low-budget movie sound guy who accidentally records a car accident that's really a murder in disguise. He could just walk away, but he's already in too deep, one obsessive edit at a time. What makes Blowout so mesmerizing is how De Palma weaves sound, image, and conspiracy into a suffocating web. The more Jack investigates, the more the walls close in. Neon-drenched streets and echoing reels of tape build a mood that's pure unease, where every detail feels loaded and every lead could be a dead end. Nancy Allen and John Lithgow give performances that crank up the dread and the heartbreak. The ending? It's a punch to the gut, haunting, tragic, and impossible to forget. Critics at the time didn't know what to make of it. Now, it's hailed as one of the best thrillers of its era, a chilling look at how truth can get buried beneath noise. Blowout isn't just a mystery, it's a wake-up call about the cost of chasing what's hidden. Watch it, and you'll never hear a scream the same way again. Sorcerer, Mitoiset. If there's a movie that will have you sweating bullets from start to finish, it's Sorcerer. This is white-knuckle cinema, pure and simple, a desperate, pounding journey through a jungle that wants to eat you alive. Four men on the run from their pasts take on the world's most dangerous job, driving two trucks full of unstable dynamite across miles of hellish terrain. One bump, one jolt, and it's all over. Director William Friedkin ditches the supernatural for something even scarier: human desperation. The suspense is suffocating, especially in the infamous bridge scene where the whole world seems to hang by a fraying rope. The cast, Roy Scheider leads the way, plays it dead serious, their faces carved with fear and resolve. There's no glamour, no glory, just mud, sweat, and the constant threat of doom. When Sorcerer first dropped, it got steamrolled by Star Wars. Nobody paid attention, but over the years, its legend grew. Now, it's recognized as one of the most nerve-shredding thrillers ever made, a masterclass in tension that never lets up for a second. Sorcerer is a reminder that sometimes the biggest explosions happen inside the human mind. If you want a film that grabs your nerves and never lets go, don't let this one stay lost. Cutter's Way 1981. Some movies sneak up on you. Cutter's Way comes at you with a limp, a snarl, and more heart than most films dare to show. Set in a sun-bleached California that's rotting from the inside out, this neo-noir gem stars John Hurt as Cutter, a bitter, broken Vietnam vet, and Jeff Bridges as his best friend, a drifting pretty boy who's lost his purpose. When a wealthy local becomes the prime suspect in a grisly murder, Cutter smells conspiracy, and he's not letting go. What follows is a slow-burn mystery where every answer only raises more questions. The real battle isn't just for justice, it's against the world's indifference. Cutter is a live wire, reckless and magnetic, dragging everyone down the rabbit hole with him. The chemistry between Hurt and Bridges is electric, filled with tension, loyalty, and a shared sense of being chewed up and spit out by life. Director Ivan Passer paints a picture of America in decay, where the rich hide behind fences and everyone else is left to rot. The film's ending leaves you unsettled and oddly moved, a final twist that refuses to play by the rules. Ignored on release, Cutter's Way has slowly earned its place as a lost classic. Watch it if you want a story that bleeds truth, anger, and the kind of raw humanity that can't be faked. Paper Moon 1973. Who knew the Great Depression could be so much fun? Paper Moon is a masterclass in charm and wit, a black and white road movie where every frame looks like a lost photograph, and every character could hustle you out of your lunch money. Ryan O'Neal plays Moses Prey, a small-time con man drifting through dusty Kansas towns. But the real star is Tatum O'Neal, his sharp-tongued, no-nonsense partner in crime. She's just a kid, but she's got more street smarts than most adults. Director Peter Bogdanovich brings a soft touch and an eye for the ridiculous. Every scheme is a dance between hope and survival, and every dollar comes with a punchline. You can feel the desperation of the era in every rickety car and every sketchy motel, but what keeps you glued is the duo's oddball chemistry. They bicker, they plot, and they outsmart every poor soul who crosses their path. Paper Moon isn't just a period piece, it's a lesson in finding light in dark times. The scams are clever, the one-liners are gold, and the bond between Moses and Addie is one for the ages. No wonder Tatum O'Neal became the youngest Oscar winner ever for her role. This movie's a reminder that sometimes the smartest person in the room isn't even tall enough to reach the counter. Straight Time 1978. Most crime movies show you the big score. Straight Time shows you what comes after, the suffocating grind of trying to go straight when the world only remembers you as a crook. Dustin Hoffman is at his absolute best as Max Dembo, an ex-con fresh out of prison, desperate for a second chance and hounded at every turn by a system that expects him to fail. There's no glamour here, just dead-end jobs, cheap rooms, and the constant itch to break the rules one more time. Director Ulu Grossbard keeps everything raw and intimate. You feel every bad break, every missed opportunity, and every moment when hope almost breaks through. Hoffman's Max is a walking contradiction. Tough but wounded, angry but aching for something better. The film's supporting cast is just as sharp. Harry Dean Stanton, M. Emmett Walsh, and Teresa Russell each bring a shot of hard-earned wisdom to the story. By the end, you're left wondering if anyone can really escape their past, or if some stories are written before they even begin. Straight Time is a classic in the purest sense. A film that's all about the struggle, the sweat, and the stubborn hope that keeps people going. If you want a forgotten American masterpiece that cuts deep, look no further. Which of these forgotten classics are you adding to your watch list? Let us know in the comments. Hit subscribe for more movie deep dives and share this with a friend who loves hidden gems. These films prove that true masterpieces never really disappear, they're just waiting to be rediscovered. Who knows what other legends are hiding in the dark?